At Daniel's excellence. Maybe I should summarize this because we spoke about it this morning. At school, let's look at Daniel at school. Chapter 1, verse 17. No. Can I go on, Pastor Mwemba? I started at past. Pastor is telling me now that it's time for me to finish. In 10 minutes. Yeah, in 10 minutes it will be 30 minutes. Now you are being unfair for this. I thought with all that song service I'll have enough time. Now what should I do? All right, no, it's fine. Let me do the best that I can with it. I don't want to be defiant. I might not have something coming in at the end of the month. So. I can't defy a director in the presence of the president. All right, so in chapter 1, verse 17 and verse 20, we learn that these young men, because of their faithfulness in little things, they were faithful in something that we would consider, it's not that important. I mean, it's just food. But because of their faithfulness, God blessed them. And the Bible says that in everything that the king tested them, they were 10 times better than all the children. Does that make sense, friends? So these young men, they were not just praying. Like Dr. Mwemba said this morning, there's time for prayer and there's time for work. So these young men prayed at the time of prayer, but when it was time to work on their books, they were working. Are we together, friends? They were working. As a result, just after school, they were given prominent positions in Babylon. And you keep on seeing them being promoted throughout the book until Daniel occupies the position of prime minister in Babylon because of excellence in their work. Now, of course, it was their effort combined with divine power, God blessing their efforts. Are we together, friends? If you look at Daniel chapter 6, we spoke about this morning. They investigated Daniel. They called Ernst & Young. They called KPMG on Daniel. They had a forensic audit. Yeah, for those who are in Mazars, yeah. We have a member who is at Mazars as well. And Pastor Lefume says I should mention that's the company that employed me before I decided to leave that and go into ministry. So we had all these accounting companies and auditing companies brought together, and they were to investigate Daniel. Now, a forensic audit is not like an assurance audit, where they audit samples. In forensic audit, they audit the whole population. If they say in the asset management department there's a problem, they will audit everything in the asset management department and leave no stones unturned. If there were no cameras, I'll tell you what happened once in one audit. That I almost got into a forensic audit. But because my life was threatened, literally, in the boardroom there were threats on our lives. The partner of the company came and said, Shim, you're a young man. Go and audit in another place. We'll take care of this. You have your whole future ahead of you. That's how serious forensic audits can get. Especially when the government is getting audited. I won't go further into that one.
We'll switch off the camera.
No, don't worry. Now I have 5 minutes actually. So anyways.
No, I think you have 5 now. Extra minutes.
All right, thanks. So this man was audited, Daniel, but nothing was found. I don't know if you hear what... They turned everything upside down, looking for one thing to bring against Daniel. Not so that they could expel him, just enough to get him demoted. Nothing was found.
Okay.
That's how excellent he was in his work. So Daniel was not only holy in church. Are we together, friends? His holiness to God meant thoroughness in his work. We need to make sure, friends, that when we are at school studying, we are representing God.
Yes.
Are we together? When we are at work, Whether you are auditing, whether you are a surgeon, whether you are a lawyer, you are representing God there. And whatever you do is saying something about the God that you serve.
Amen.
And Daniel understood that. And that's how he worked. So he was excellent in his work. Now, how did Daniel witness at school? When he was at school, Daniel showed that God's ways were the best. I'm quite sure the science of Babylon said that there's nothing wrong with the food that was being served there. And the wine. That's why they gave them the food and the wine. Because they thought it was best. But when he compared the science of Babylon and what God said, Daniel said, no. I'll have to chuck out the science of Babylon out of the window so that I can follow what God says. And he followed what God says. And guess what happened? God rewarded him. They saw the results. The Bible says that they looked fairer and fatter. They actually had more knowledge and wisdom. They had an understanding of spiritual things. Daniel had understanding of visions and dreams. God rewarded him for sure. When we are in our secular spaces, we need to show that God's principles work. One man said, don't compromise to be recognized.
Hey.
Don't compromise just because you say everyone is doing this. Everyone is paying a facilitation fee in order to get business. Yeah, that's the euphemism for bribes. We're together. We shouldn't say, in this workspace I am in. You have to lie to get ahead. We need to show in our workspaces that God's ways are best.
Amen.
And Daniel was willing to risk his own life to show that God's ways work. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that Daniel's sense was in tune with God's providence. When there was a crisis, Daniel pounced on the crisis. Are we together? Yeah, when there was a crisis of the king's dream and no one being able to read the dream, to tell the dream and to give the interpretation, Daniel went to God because that was an opportunity for him to exalt God. When there was a crisis in chapter 5 of the writing on the wall, who did they call on? Daniel. So when they tried all their solutions, who did they go to? Daniel. I wish as a church, for example, we would have possessed